I'm tuning now. With the pencil. Like a saxophone
He
thing
stole this from a goat.
that I made. No, this is from an oryx. An oryx horn.
Hans is restless instrumentally. You know, Pedro, who plays the duduk, he's also very, keen on going to Home Depot and buying a load of plastic tubing and somehow putting a reed on it and making a sound.
I call it the PVC-based K Bansuri. Now I can sleep tonight.
Oh, Pedro. We got Pedro from Venezuela. You know, with all this technology going on, you need somebody who can play with this enormous heart that he has. It's just music flows from him. I wrote the notes, but the notes are only, for me, a tiny part of the journey. The notes need to be dressed up, so they need to have sound. What you have is good, and you can go and humanize them.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Because they're so low and it needs a little edge on top.
Yeah. You know, I can throw an idea out there, and then somebody else puts another idea on top.
Let's do another round. So that one we could just say was a little bit louder, like a mezzo piano, and this one, let's go for even softer.
This is my friend Trina. She is my muse. We have done a lot of things together. The team that surrounds me, we speak the same language. Denis and Joe are part of the band.
The thing I love about Joe is that he works as much on sound that he works on the images. And there's a whole structure that we work together on the structure of sound.
How much do you have to adjust things when I send it? I mean, how much do I get you into trouble? Because I have a feeling you and I are very...
I think we're in sync rhythmically.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's kind of like...
we could easily be in the same band playing the drums, because our sense of storytelling.
You have to, in this film, not only convey very convincing battle scenes, but also weird interior life that the Bene Gesserit have developed and that Spice brings along in the characters. So, there's such an opportunity to experience the sound.
That map is used at this time by a new artist that I'm working for the first time. Richard King came on board and had Doug Hempel and Ron Bartlett bring the sound to life.
Denis wants the world of Dune to be very visceral and tactile and recognizable as real. Documentary was the word that he used. He wanted really for the audience to have the feeling that all of this sound was recorded the day that the shots were taken.
The phrase I use is like a camera person will rack focus to show you what they want you to be looking at, and we do the same with sound. It's the same principle. You don't want an audience to choose between 10,000 sounds. You want to focus in on what you'd like them to hear for story and emotion.
The worm is much more of a feature, and is featured a lot more in this film, and so we needed to create the sound of the worm riding along the surface, and the velocity of the worm and the friction of the worm on the ground.
Well, when Paul rides the worm the first time, he gets the grandfather of all worms, and we had to make it sound like that.
There's 50 tons of meat traveling along the ground at 50 miles an hour. So there were so many challenges. We did a lot of recording in the desert, dragging large objects across sand and gravel, and then utilizing pitch shifters and simple kind of analog tools like that to alter the sounds.
It's a real handoff moment where it's this massive worm. And Paul's voice is so tiny because if you make him large or loud, it makes the worm sound smaller, so you go the other way. The worm's huge. You can barely hear Paul like yelling or doing any efforts. But when you get to the music, that's when it's like Ta-da! You know, he's gonna really take off and ride this giant worm. And it's just very heroic and gives you goosebumps.
Richard's sound is spectacular and phenomenal. So I quietly have to find it's not quite fighting a battle, it's outwitting him, you know? It's like figuring out, okay, hang on, I know that Richard will just have appropriated the whole top end of the audio spectrum. So I better find something sort of in the middle to sneak in, you know? This is the score done by the band.
Well, it's by you, played by the band.
This is a score done by the band. Don't argue with me.